You've found Wickett on Wisconsin, your one-stop podcast for all things Packers, Brewers, Bucks, and the rest of your favorite teams from all over the state of Wisconsin. We're powered by Wisconsin Sports Heroics, online at wisportsheroics.com and the Wisconsin Podcast Association. And now, here's your host, Mike Wickett.
Well, we've done a lot of draft previews, but on this episode of Wickett on Wisconsin, it is time to do some draft reviews. Because everybody has a take on what Green Bay did in the first round, and you're hearing the national media, and after day one was going after the Packers. But I, in fact, loved their entire draft. And joining me right now, his Twitter bio says VP of Wisconsin Sports Heroics, so technically he's my boss. wisportsheroics.com. Chris Buboltz is with us. What's up, boss? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good, Mike. Thanks for having me on today.
For sure. Going into the draft, everybody and their brother knew. I'm not sure if you were aware of this, but the Packers needed a wide receiver. Did anybody tell you guys that? Did you ever learn that Green Bay didn't have a real good set of wide receivers?
No, honestly, I thought when I heard Packers needed a wide receiver, I'm like, you people are crazy.
What? So they go into the draft, and I don't know if you were they have to take a wide receiver in the first round. You want them to take a wide receiver in the first round. You need them to take two wide receivers maybe within their first three picks at 22, 28, 53, whatever. What was your mindset a week ago when we were 2 days away from round one?
So about 2 days ago before the draft, I was very much set on, I think the best route for Green Bay to go was a wide receiver in the first round. But I also knew Green Bay has gone 20 years without taking a wide receiver in the first round. Why are they going to take one now? And it's not really the Packer. It's not really the Packer way. It's not their go-to in the draft. They've had a lot of success with Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson, Randall Cobb, James Jones in the second, third round range. So as much as I thought that they should have taken a receiver in the first round, my gut was telling me the whole time I could see second or third rounders where realistically they were gonna get that young stud receiver.
Yeah, as much as I was trying to manifest Chris Olave into becoming a thing, I wanted to see him in Green Bay. Deep down inside, I'm like, they're not going to take a wide receiver at 28 for sure. No way at 22 unless somebody slides to him. And then after the Big Six went, after I think Treylon Burks was the last of the Big Six went, I just thought there's no way. As much as I would have been okay with Christian Watson at 22, and they got him the next day, but there was nobody really jumping up on the board once the Big Six and especially the Big Four got drafted.
Yeah, not really. And my mindset started to change a little bit when Jahan Dotson went all the way up to 16 with Washington.
Yeah, yes.
Honestly, at that point, I thought to myself, okay, this is not going to happen. We're just better off. We're better off sitting back into the second round, trade up and try and get, Pickens, Watson, or you even take a jump at Pierce possibly in the mid rounds. But I think all in all, though, it really turned out really well because Green Bay was so high on Christian Watson. He was in for pre-draft visits. They loved everything about him. He also has that Packer connection, too, with his dad being drafted by the Packers as well, too. So as much as Thursday night may have been a damper for some people, Friday evening became just a whole lot better. And I think it just balanced everything out.
Before we start moving through all of these picks, and by the way, coming up after Chris and I talk about the overall draft, I got a guy coming on who covered Watson at North Dakota. So we're going to learn a lot more on how well he fits into the Packers system. So you and I are going to talk about Watson, obviously, and I want your thoughts, but I'm going to get even, instead of just going deep on Quay Walker, we're going to get deep on Christian Watson because wide receivers are sexy. So when they don't go receiver at 22, Chris, and they go defense, and it's Quay Walker, it wasn't, everybody's talking about Nakobe Dean, but it wasn't Nakobe Dean. When the pick happened, what did you think, and what do you think now of Walker out of Georgia?
I think Walker going at 22 for him was actually a very smart pick, just in the sense that we haven't taken an outside linebacker since Nick Barnett back in 2003, 2004, I think it was. And for so many years, the inside linebacker position was not really addressed very well in the draft. Now, a couple years ago, you took Chris Barnes and Kamal Martin you took Kamal Martin in the 5th round, you had undrafted rookie and Chris Barnes. But besides that, you're pushing 4th, 5th, 6th round. So there really wasn't that much of you didn't really think much about that position. But now that you spent a 1st round draft pick on an inside linebacker, you're solidified now at that position for quite some time, because you just re-signed Devontae Campbell in the offseason. Chris Barnes is heading into his 3rd year. And now you also got Quay Walker. You're set. So it's one of those things where, yeah, the board didn't go the way Green Bay wanted to, but Wickett still.
It didn't go the way that Green Bay fans wanted to. This may have been exactly what Green Bay wanted. They may have thought smoke screen, wide receivers. Meanwhile, nobody's talking about Quay Walker to the Packers at 22.
Yeah. No one really was, because everyone thought Nakobe Dean. This is the guy.
I was screaming Nakobe Dean, Chris. I was a part of the person fan of the Flames.
I sat there when they drafted him. I was like, okay, okay, I can get on board with this. But then I was thought too, okay, well now what's going on with Nakobe Dean? Something's going on with them, because before the draft he was a top 10 prospect.
Yeah.
So at that point, I'm like, okay, something's not adding up here with Nakobe Dean. But like I said, though, it didn't go the way people thought it was going to. But in the end, Goody really compensated and took her a position that Green Bay has not addressed very well for probably at least the past 10, 11 years.
Well, I like what you said too, Chris, and I thought about the same thing. It's like it's kind of what they're doing with the wide receivers. They have 2 old guys in Cobb and Watkins, and then who knows what else is going to happen. I mean, there are still so many older veterans they can acquire in various ways between now and the start of camp. But they had Amari Rodgers last year. They had Watson this year. They take the kid Dubs. We're going to talk about those guys. But it's like if you invest in young guys as well at positions where you are okay, if not good, and Green Bay's real good on defense, and with Campbell, they're real good on the inside. Now you get a young guy in there who can just play with his instincts, and he can learn Barry's system. I really agree with you. This is kind of a past or a future and present kind of pick that addresses not a desperate need, but a spot that 3 years down the road, when they kick Devontae Campbell out of Green Bay, then maybe Quay Walker is all of a sudden ascending and becoming an elite inside linebacker.
Yeah, exactly. And you hit it right on the head there, Mike, when you said that it's a pick for the present and a pick for the future as well too. Because 3-4 years ago, we had Blake Martinez and Jake Ryan as our inside linebackers, and we all thought, oh man, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. And I see your hands over your eyes, over your head. Believe me, I had the exact same thought when those two were out on the field at the same time. I'm sitting there, watching
the slowest inside linebacker pair in the entire National Football League.
We're playing a Dalvin Cook or whatever. I'm like, okay, yep, Dalvin Cook's going to have an easy 150-yard rushing day. So.
God. It's so true. 6 picks later, they're really, and if I thought they were going to go Watson here because I know how high they were on him, but they let Christian Watson go by, and then they take this other dude, Devontae Wyatt, his teammate from Georgia, Quay Walker's teammate from Georgia. I'll tell you what, if you gave me 7 rounds of SEC speed, particularly any players off of Georgia or Bama or LSU, I am on board with that. You don't even tell me their names. Just say, I took Georgia defensive linemen. I love the pick of Devontae Wyatt. Again, it adds, people are like, why didn't anybody get a weapon for Aaron Rodgers? Well, they got a weapon for Kenny Clark, because now Kenny Clark's going to have a little bit of help for the next few years on the inside of that line.
Yeah, exactly. And with me being a Packers fan, doing all these mock drafts beforehand, anytime that I saw that Devontae Wyatt was available, it was either 22 or 28, I snagged him up every single time, because just like you said, we've been saying for years, Kenny Clark needs help on the defensive line. Dean Lowry's getting up there in age. We let go of Kingsley Kiki. We just picked up Jaron Reed. And those are all good picks, but we need to get younger though. And with TJ Slayton and limited opportunities last year, you still don't really know what you have in him. And yeah, and like you don't really need Devontae Wyatt to be that pass rusher. You just need someone who can just
suck up a blocker.
Suck up the blocks. Yeah. So when we took Devontae Wyatt at 28, I'll admit I was sitting by my TV and I gave a few fist bumps. I'm like yes. I'm like, if we're gonna take someone at 28 and he's still on the board, he is too good of a player to pass up.
How many starters did they draft on day one?
2.
Both of them start. You think Quay Walker and Devontae Wyatt get up to speed in Barry's system year 1, month 1, week 1?
Absolutely. I really do think that both of them are going to be in that starting defense at week 1. I really do.
So that we all go to bed, wake up, all the assessments, all the national pundits. What is Green Bay doing? Well, they're not helping Aaron Rodgers out. Why does this happen all the time? Half of Packer Nation hated the draft. That's how I knew it was a really good first day, when there were so many livid Packer fans about not getting a wide receiver. I'm like, good job, Goot. You pissed everybody off. So this was a great first day. They move up and trade with, of all teams, the Vikings, which Minnesota helping out Detroit on day 1, Green Bay on day 2 was fantastic. And we're putting the kids to dinner. We're getting the kids, ready for dinner. And I kind of cheat into the living room. I can see my wife. She's like cutting up the chicken nuggets or whatever for the kids. And I hear, with the 34th pick in the 2022 NFL Draft, the Green Bay Packers select Christian Watson, wide receiver, North Dakota State. My arms went straight up. I did one of these, and my wife's like, what happened? I'm like, they took Christian Watson. And my wife's like, who? She has no idea. It is the perfect, Chris, it is the perfect fit.
It really is the perfect fit. And, to any Minnesota Viking fans who may be watching, thank you.
They're the only team whose Super Bowl odds went down after the draft. Like, you add talent, you add young pieces, you add potential stars. Your odds are supposed to stay the same or go up to win the Super Bowl. 31 teams' odds did that. The only one whose odds went down, Minnesota.
Exactly. And it's very funny because reports that I heard earlier on Friday said that Green Bay actually tried to make a trade with Minnesota at 32.
Yeah.
To possibly go up and get Watson, but Minnesota came out and said, "Well, we don't want to have you draft someone and give them a 5th-year option." But we'll just wait 2 more picks to give it to you. But yeah, no, it is the perfect fit for Green Bay, because you get a young vertical receiver who he's not going to replace the Devontae Adams stats. It's more so of a Marquez Valdes-Scantling, but he can turn into a Devontae Adams. And just because he went to FCS school in North Dakota State, that's not something to knock him down on. Because North Dakota State, they still play good competition out there. And yeah, honestly, like I said, just a perfect pick. Green Bay could not have done any better with that pick. Yes, it stunk giving away 2 primetime picks, but guess what? You're going to say it in 3 to 4 years, it was all worth it.
I think the pick is absolutely perfect because, he didn't even have the best receiving stats on his team last year. Another guy did, but that's a team that ran the ball 65% of the time. Watson's the best run-blocking wide receiver in the National Football League. In the NFL Draft. Nobody else was better than Christian Watson. Sammy Watkins was the highest-rated run-blocking wide receiver in the NFL last year. Allen Lazard was the 5th highest-rated run-blocking wide receiver in the NFL last year. I think this was a draft pick for the future of the Matt LaFleur offense. Remember, when he comes in, everybody has to learn. There's still some of that McCarthy offense with Rodgers, but you're slowly seeing the transition, I think, to a more Shanahan-like, what Matt LaFleur really wants to do. We see it with a lot of pre-snap motion, a lot of jet motion. Like, I think that you're going to see – I don't think there's going to be a wide receiver that catches 100 balls for a long time for Green Bay. And I'm okay with that if 5 guys catch 50. And there's all these other, Swiss Army knife plays for guys like Watson and Cobb. And, hopefully Amari Rodgers takes that next step, and Sammy Watkins. I just think this opens up so many possibilities. I love the pick, Chris.
I do too. And honestly, when you just said how many weapons we're going to have, when you're defending Green Bay for the past 3-4 years, your mindset was, okay, if I can get two guys on Devontae Adams,
yep,
it's gonna slow him down a little bit.
You know where Aaron's first read is going to be. You know that he's going to look to 17 first to see how that's going.
Yep, yeah, you know his first read is going to be a Devontae. But now this year, when you have Lazard, Cobb, Watkins, Watson, defenders are going to be out there just spinning. Their heads are going to be spinning around because they don't know who to have their focal point on. And with Christian Washington's speed, that's going to be a very tough one-on-one matchup for any corner. Sammy Watkins' height is also going to be a problem, and Randall Cobb and Alan Lazard's abilities to get open. I can't fathom how great this offense is going to be now without Devontae Adams. It was good with Devontae Adams, but the possibilities are limitless now with this offense.
I really agree with you, man. And I don't want to sit here and gloss and say he's rookie of the year, he's MVP, he's this year's Jamar Chase, he's Justin Jefferson, but his skill set is so versatile. And I know people are going to look at his drop rate. He had a pretty high drop rate when he was at North Dakota State. That's fine. Get him a month. Get him a month with LaFleur. Get him a month with Aaron Rodgers, putting the ball in a pinpoint spot. He's going to learn where Rodgers likes to throw the ball. Rodgers is going to learn exactly where he likes the ball, where he has the best chance of catching the football. And then I just think with his 4.39 speed, how do you not take advantage of that? Whether you're handing the ball off, whether it's something quick, or just, remember Jeff Janis, just have him go. There's so many opportunities to get the football into his hands and have him produce.
There is. And also, too, I wouldn't be surprised if they used Christian Watson early on in the season as another Tyler Ervin, so to speak. Because with Tyler Ervin being gone, you don't have anyone who can run jet sweep, jet motion. Hey, now you got another guy with that in Christian Watson.
I'm going to have more on Watson coming up the back half of the podcast. Going to speak with a guy who covered North Dakota State. So we'll get real nasty and nerdy on that. Running through the rest of the draft here. Then they come back up in the third round. And I don't know all that much about offensive tackle play or guard play in the Pac-12, but Sean Ryan looks like a great prospect and a guy who can play up and down the line.
He does, and he's also one of those players who fits what LaFleur wants to do in the offense. Very not only versatile wide receivers, but versatile offensive linemen. Guys who you can plug in to play both guard positions if something happens, or tackle, and especially with Jenkins being out and David Bakhtiari and his rehab. Sean Ryan, he wasn't one of those guys that I really thought about in the second or third round. Like, I knew he had second, third round draft grades coming in, but I was like, I'm not really sure. But again, when Green Bay took him the third round, I was like, okay, that's also another solid pick.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, to me, when you go to the Power 5 conferences and you grab offensive linemen, there's a real good shot. I mean, the little guys have one or two, like the kid Penning from Northern Iowa. Okay, but you're not going up and down the two deep on Northern Iowa to take this guard and this center. But generally speaking, for the most part, when you grade guys out of the big schools, the Power 5, usually those guys are going to be serviceable, if not above average. And to get a guy in the third round that had the success and is as versatile as you're talking about, to me, was a hit. Then they take Romeo Doubs, the wide receiver from Nevada. You can have your this is going to go the opposite of what I just said. You get stud wideouts from Alabama and Ohio State. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. Green Bay's first two wide receivers were North Dakota State and a kid from Nevada.
Yeah, that was very interesting. But I think also too, a lot of people forget with Romeo Doubs, though, is that he had back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons, and it doesn't matter what college football program you play for. 1,000 yards in 1 year in college football, that's pretty impressive. That's gonna raise the ears and eyebrows of NFL scouts. So, and also kind of relate back to what you said earlier. Watson and Doubs, to me, were picks that helped the present and the future as well too. So And honestly, I would have been okay with just those two wide receivers. But then you know what? We got another cherry on top with Samori Toure from Nebraska too. So
does he have a shot to make the team, do you think? Because they're never going to give up on Amari Rodgers this early.
No.
They signed Watson or Watkins, cheap deal. If they just paid him $3 million or $4 million to go away, whatever. I know it's $1.5 million with a lot of incentive. Cobb is old, but they're not going to make Aaron Rodgers upset. God forbid they get rid of the old man in Cobb. I mean, assuming there's 6 receivers on the roster come opening day, somebody's not going to make it from this draft class. Obviously, the numbers would bear out that it would be the kid from Nebraska, Toure.
Yeah, and I think that's really going to be a coin toss, because I think in the end, it's going to be Toure and Malik Taylor probably fighting for that last wide receiver spot, and whoever doesn't come out on top will go to the practice squad. Mm-hmm. But I think based on
what's that mean for Winfrey? He's gone too then.
Yeah, I think
they like Jamon Winfrey, and I think Rodgers likes Winfrey, but Winfrey's got very small chance to make this roster. His only benefit is he's been around for a little while.
Yeah, exactly. And I think really I think that's what Malik Taylor has over Toure right now, and I think that's really about it. So I think it's going to depend whether or not, how fast Toure can get acclimated to Matt LaFleur's offense, and also might see too how Malik Taylor can evolve too, because now his back is up against the wall, because he's sitting there saying, shoot, I got 3 rookie receivers here right now that are possibly trying to take my job. How can I jump up and go up to the next level to make sure that they can take it? So I think I really think it's going to end up being a coin flip right now. Who gets that final roster spot and who's going to be on the practice squad? So I can't see Green Bay carrying 7 receivers.
No, I think can somebody step up and return kicks? Yeah. Can somebody step up and return a punt? Who's good on special teams? Who can be a gunner? All of that is going to factor into wide receiver 6, and if there is wide receiver 7, which I agree with you. I can't see a wide receiver 7 on this roster coming out of camp in August. And I mean, you know what they say? Packers just have too many wide receivers. That's just what they've been saying
exactly. Exactly. We need, it comes down to we need wide receivers. Now we have too many wide receivers. You can't keep Packer Nation happy at the wide receiver spot. You just can't.
Gosh. Zach Tom, the kid they take next, the guard, most likely a guard, probably can play some tackle or center, but another versatile offensive lineman that Green Bay likes to pick. Ted Thompson did it. Goot likes to do it. Correct me if I'm wrong. He was the highest rated pass blocking guard in the entire draft. Is that right?
That is accurate. And
how did this happen in the 4th, 5th round? How did that happen?
and that's the thing though, where a lot of people are saying that, hey, if you're Green Bay, yeah, you need offensive linemen, but yeah, you got to go up in the 2nd, 3rd round to go get them. It's like, we've had a lot of success on day 3. David Bakhtiari, John Runyon, all these other guys, and now you go into the 4th round, you get a diamond in the rough in Zach Tom. So that was also another very, very good pick on Goody's end as well too. And it's one of those things too where you can't have enough offensive linemen, and now with having more versatile line, you can makeshift that offensive line around so much.
And I love the pick of the Rasheed Walker kid out of Penn State. I saw multiple rankings, a bunch of different saying he was a top 100 guy, and they got him at, I'm going to check my math, 249. I saw one draft expert had him as the 90th best player in the national. Warren Sharp, I think, had him as the 90th best player in the draft, or 94, something like that. They got him in the 260s or whatever, 249.
And that again too, that's just another tip of the cap to Goody and all the scouts in Green Bay, like knowing that hey, we can get this guy if we just sit back and let the draft play out to us. We got a feeling that we can still get this guy.
The name I don't know how to pronounce is the edge rusher out of South Carolina. I'll let you fill in the blank. Kingsley?
Enagbear?
Sure.
I think.
Sure. I mean, everything I read about him, and again, this goes back to something we talked about 20 minutes ago. Give me that SEC speed. Just feed me that SEC speed. I don't care if it's South Carolina, if it's Georgia, if it's Alabama, LSU, whatever. Everything I've read about this guy is he is a pure go get the quarterback and rip his head off kind of edge rusher. And Green Bay, of course, needs that. Zadarius Smith is now gone. They've got Gary. They got Preston Smith, some of the other guys. But this guy's going to add some tremendous depth. This could be a great, fifth round steal.
And you know what? Still to this day, I'm scratching my head on how he fell all the way down to the fifth round, because again, too, he was also slated as a second, third round pick. And
I'm in 5.
Yeah, exactly. And yes, edge rusher wasn't an immediate need for the Packers, but it's like, you can still get someone in the, 4th, 5th round, just like we just did. And it's also smart too, in the sense that, you don't really know how much longer Preston Smith is going to have. Like, yes, we extended him, but is he going to play out the term of his contract? That remains to be seen. Rashawn Gary, you just picked up his 5th-year option, and if he continues to play the way that he has been, holy smokes! You can only imagine the kind of money he's going to be asking for.
Yeah.
So yeah. At the end of the day, this is also one of those picks where, it wasn't, you didn't really need it right off the bat, but it also solidifies, again, your present and your future.
They did a really nice job, too, I don't expect a whole lot of what Jonathan Ford, the defensive lineman out of Miami, Tariq Carpenter, the safety out of Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
Watch, those will be the 2 best players out of the draft, because it's the 2 I'm least excited about. But I don't know much about those 2 guys other than depth, and maybe one of them makes the roster.
Yep, I would agree. I think if you're looking at it just from a depth perspective, I think you're going to see Tariq Carpenter make the final 53. Just also too, with the fact that safety is one of those positions that Green Bay is really going to have to keep their eyes on, especially going into next season, because Darnell Savage, he had a down year this year, so you don't know what you're going to get out of him this year. Adrian Amos, okay, he's getting up there in age too, so it might be one of those things where, for just a pure depth perspective, Tariq Carpenter is gonna make that final 53, but probably play majority special teams.
Was this Goot's best draft on paper?
Hands down. I really think it was, because with everything that happened in the first round, people, Packers could start panicking right away. Oh shoot, okay, we got Tripp, we got to get Watson, we got to get Pickens, we got to get these guys now. But no, they sat back and said, okay, the draft board didn't go our way. What other positions of need are on this roster right now that we can fill right now? Let the draft play itself out for the rest of the night, start fresh Friday, and get the ball rolling again the next day. So yeah, I would agree from top to bottom. This was Brian Gutekunst's best draft, hands down.
This was better than the Jordan Love draft. That's what you're telling me right now, Chris. This was.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Just just a little bit better.
A little bit better. All right.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. I completely agree. I absolutely love the draft. I think the first 4 picks, the first 5 picks, the first 6 picks are all guys that either can start or contribute this year. I mean, I love the 2 defensive picks. The next Packers jersey I buy is going to be Christian Watson. I am just completely sold on Watson. The last 2 I bought have been Jordan Love and A.J. Dillon, so I'm 1 for 2 on the last 2.
Yeah.
But I'm so impressed. And then they had the free agent, the undrafted guys. I think the running back, I can't think of his name, the running back out of Iowa that they picked up
Tyler
as an undrafted.
Goodson, yep.
I think Tyler Goodson can play in this league. I'm a little surprised he went undrafted. Maybe it's because he played at Iowa. He didn't get a lot of looks, but I agree with you, Chris. I just think this was an A-plus draft. So I appreciate you coming on and talk about it with me. Will you come back and come on the podcast again?
I will. I will. You tell me when and where, and I'll be there.
Follow him at Chris Buboltz. That's Buboltz. He is my boss. He is the vice president of Wisconsin Sports Heroics, online, wisportsheroics.com. Follow him at Chris Buboltz. Chris, thanks again for coming on, man. We will talk again soon.
Yeah, not a problem. Thanks for having me, Mike. I appreciate it.